Fred here, welcome back to the Gear Obsession channel. In this episode I will be reviewing the Gerber Bear Grylls Folding Sheath Knife. So let's take a closer look at the packaging before we unbox it. Here is the front, here is the back. I picked this up at Walmart for just under $30. Now the specifications are as follows. The overall length of this blade when open is 8.5 inches. Closed length is 4.9 inches. The blade length is 3.6 inches, and the total weight of the knife is 4.3 ounces, and with the sheath it is 5.3. Now before I turn this over, you can see here is the folding knife. It's considered part of the survival series, so it's being marketed as a survival knife. It comes with a survival guide, which you can see here in the front. On the back you could see the sheath. The sheath's supposed to be made of a mildew resistant nylon. It looks to be like a ballistic nylon. So let's take a closer look at this knife. Again, they're saying that this is a survival knife. It is a folder. Now it is a lockback design. The action is acceptably smooth, not exceptionally, acceptably. Nothing to write home about. The grip is rubberized. It's very comfortable in your hand. There's a little bit of jimping on the top. It has a lot of flare out right here, so it keeps your hand from sliding, preventing your hand from sliding onto the blade. As you can see, the blade itself is half serrated. Now, there's a lot of debate whether or not a survival knife should be serrated or not. Now, the blade itself is pretty thick, so it appears to be pretty strong. It maintains that thickness to about here, so it is possible to break the tip. The steel is unknown, typical of Gerber, Gerber's mystery steel. My guess is somewhere around your normal 440A or maybe a 428C or something around there. Nothing to write home about. You know, I have not read any reviews about the blade itself breaking. Now, on the Ultimate Survival Knife, which is a fixed blade, there's been a lot of issues with the pommel that was built onto the back, where actually when you started using it, it actually would crack out of the handle. Now, there is no play, side to side or up and down. Let's go ahead and see how sharp it is outside the box. Okay. And it does come very sharp. Now I'm going to take my reviews a little bit further. Let's see how well it cuts rope. First we'll test just the blade portion, not the serrated part. And it does quite well there. And then we'll go ahead and try the serrated. And actually the serrated did make it a lot easier to cut the rope. So I guess if part of your survival relies on cutting rope, it does make that easier, but as you can see, you could still cut rope with a regular blade there. So you're losing a lot of your regular part of the blade for that serration. So that's why a lot of people debate whether or not you really need that or not in a survival situation. You're better off having a full blade. So also inside, I'm not sure if you can tell, but I will tell you there's no liner of any sort, so you can see there's a very slight twist, but it's okay. I don't see it as being a problem. So let's go ahead and lock this. The blade centering is a little bit off, but not that bad. It's not bad enough where the blade is rubbing along one of the sides as you're closing it, so it's okay. And of course it has the Bear Grylls freaking initials all over it. You know, to me right here, you know, it's $30 in several places, and you know, it has his name on it, and I'm sure that adds about $5 to the price. I would give this about a $25 price tag, not exactly a $30, maybe even on special for $20. So, you know, maybe the price will reflect that after a year. because this whole series just came out. Here is the sheath. Appears to be made out of a almost like a ballistic nylon. You could mount it both horizontal or vertically onto your belt, and it has the Velcro cover, and they added a little extra slot in here so you could put his survival guide with all the things you need to know to get you out of a tough spot, and you can go ahead and put that in the little special compartment right here inside the sheath. Now, the one thing that might be disappointing is that this doesn't appear to be waterproof. It would have been nice if the survival guide, which also has like measuring stuff on it and how to build shelters and get water. I mean, really good survival guide. However, it's not waterproof, so you know it's not going to do well for any significant amount of time, even in the sheath. Let's fold this up and see how well it fits into the sheath. It's a nice, tight, snug fit. Not bad at all. So the next thing I want to do is go ahead and sort of whittle on some wood and see how well it holds up. Alright, so here's my spear. And it can poke holes through my paper pretty good. So it's my sad excuse for a mini spear. So let's go ahead and, after that one time, see how well we can still cut paper. You can see it's a little rough, but it could still cut pretty good. Still does a fair job, so it didn't really lose an edge too bad. Still feels pretty sharp. So I actually thought it would give up the ghost quicker, so actually it seems to be fairly decent steel. I would really put this under the category of not quite a long-term survival knife, but maybe, you know, something you could throw in your 3-day bag for short-term survival. Because folders, I still do not think a folder, unless it's an extremely well-made one, is good for long-term survival. But I don't know. I'm glad that they didn't make the serrations come, as deep with the points, because it didn't seem to grab as much. You know how sometimes when you try to cut, it sort of snags and makes it really hard for the rope to cut. But it does a pretty good job. So the serrations, even though there's nothing that really stands out about them at all, they did make them shallow. I can't put that whole word together in my head. Makes it so it doesn't grab quite as much and does a better job of cutting the rope. So I do like that change. Also, I forgot to point out that there are ambidextrous thumb studs, so it's good for both left-handed and right-handed. So actually, now after that use, you could see the blade centering might have got just a teeny bit worse. So I don't know if adjusting the pivot screw might help that or not, but I'm not seeing it. Well, it's pretty close to that one scale right there as you're closing it. It's not hitting it yet, but it's pretty close. But it doesn't have the stainless steel liner to keep it super rigid, even though the plastic is pretty hard, and then you have that nice soft rubberized grip around it. It really does feel good, though. I think it would make a good knife for a 3-day bug-out bag of some sort, or for short-term survival, but anything more than that, you really need to upgrade to something fixed blade and better. So this is my review on the Bear Grylls folding sheath knife. So I made a pretty big mess here, so I better clean this up before my wife comes out. So I hope I had to make sure this is recording. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Gear Obsession channel. I do appreciate you coming back. I appreciate every friend, viewer, subscriber out there, and I hope you have a great day.